Hello and welcome to Module 3, where we look at selling through eBay. So let's start with eBay.com and run a similar search to what we did with Amazon. So it was kitchen and dining, and then it was bakeware. And that leads us on to this section, and as you see, the top listing is 12 pieces soft silicone round cake muffin sold from China. So let's click on that. The interesting thing about eBay is unlike Amazon, you can see exactly how much a listing is sold, and when you click on here you can see how fast that product is shifting. So we're in January 20th, so you can see basically exactly what sort of sales they've had. The difference, of course, is that unlike Amazon, we can't bolt on to this listing. So what we need to do is we need to create our own. It's not hard to create a listing on eBay, and this one is really is a case in point. The pictures seem to have been taken using a home camera or a smartphone, but they're bright and clear, and despite a very basic listing, this is very basic, they seem to be selling well. However, as said previously, once we list the item, we need to wait for it to get to the top of the search terms. And like with Google searches, the higher part of the pages will get the majority of the views. So that's the way that eBay works. Also, like Amazon, being cost competitive and complying with eBay's performance criteria will gradually get you to the top of the listings. Now, there's two things that will accelerate this process of getting to the top. The first one is to have a good title so that people find you when they search on the relevant keywords. And the second one, and this is a bit of a ninja technique, is to put the item at an auction when you list it. If you look at the second item on the listing here, the Pampered Chef stoneware, you'll see it's an auction, and that's what happens with auctions. They gravitate towards the top. As and when the listing time is about to finish, and then the listing gets a lot of views, eBay recognizes the interest shown in the listing, and they gradually push it to the top. If nothing else, you'll sell the product at a profit, or even if you sell it at a break even. But be aware of the auction listing fees, and also you should put a system in place whereby you cover your costs. eBay allows you to have a starting price, a postage cost, and so on. And so if you work out your cost, you can ensure that with the right starting price and postage, your costs are at least covered. And if there is interest in a listing and it starts to receive bids, then you'll also make a profit. One interesting point about this listing, about the 12 pieces silicone round cake muffin, whilst it's very cheap, it's $3.51 per unit, including free shipping. This item shipped from China, and it will take 3 to 4 weeks to arrive. Now, some people either don't notice it or they just don't care. However, a lot of people do take notice and would pay a little bit extra for a faster delivery. And so if you apply some of the sourcing methods, which I will show you later in the program, and you have access to competitive shipping inside your country, you may be able to match or even have a slightly more expensive dispatch method at a much reduced time scale. And so your product might sell well in competition with these listings from China and Hong Kong. So let's recap on eBay. So the pros is that there's a massive amount of traffic on eBay, so very similar to Amazon. If you place your listing there, you are going to get hits and sales. It's very easy to start, very easy to list, and unlike Amazon, it's not binary, so you haven't got this problem with, or opportunity, it really depends on how you look at it, but the system with the binary, the buy box doesn't apply to eBay. On the minus side, it is very, very competitive. However, using some of the methods that we'll look at in some future modules about sourcing and such like, and also some of the methods we've just discussed, it means that we can overcome these challenges. So this leads us on to the end of this module, and I'll see you in module 4, where we'll be discussing setting up our own websites.